I am Anthony from Haslage, and today I'll be reading one of the fictional stories that I wrote in my recently released The Internet Politician book. If you like what you hear and are looking for a book that offers a little fictional and a lot of editorial, then you can find the link to my book in the description or via the author section of my website, tony.haslage.net. The book only costs $1, and in the least, you will get some use out of the Amazon Kindle app that was on your phone when you bought it. Now, the story I'm going to read is called Invaders of the Techno-Organic version 2. I had written another version. I didn't like it as much, but I still kept it in the book, so you can actually read version 1. Version 2 I wrote more recently. I don't know what I saw that inspired me, but I thought it was actually a better version of the story. So we'll go through it and let me know what you think about it. Okay, so now we begin. I was lying in bed watching television as I typically do when nothing else finds my attention, and at approximately the same time each day, a jet plane of some type passes overhead as it approaches the airport to the east. Thinking nothing of it, I continued to watch television until I realized that the sound of the plane was not subsiding as quickly as it normally would. In fact, the sound was getting louder. The house began to shake. I jumped out of bed and looked out my window to see the plane had crashed a few blocks northeast of my house. As it hit the ground, it created a trail of destruction, taking all of the homes in its path with it. By the time the plane came to a stop, my vantage point only allowed me to view the smoking damage and hear the sounds of screaming from the neighbors. I quickly ran downstairs to get a better view from outside. Once I stepped onto the front porch, I began to hear the sound of another jet approaching from the same direction as the previous. Before I had an opportunity to turn around, flying over top of my neighbor's house was another plane, and it quickly crash-landed a few blocks to the southeast. As it made contact with the houses in its path, huge fireballs and plumes of smoke quickly filled the sky. Both scared and curious, I moved to the western edge of the porch to see if there was something in the sky that explained the reason for these two planes crashing in my neighborhood. As I looked towards the north, I saw the largest object I had ever seen in the sky. Other than the sirens and the still running jet engines in the wreckage to my east, I could not identify any other loud sounds. This object in the air did not have any discernible external engines, seemingly keeping it afloat, and its shape was far from aerodynamic. The flying ship, if it could be called that, looked like a battleship from the Second World War rather than an airplane or spacecraft that I had ever seen. From behind the mother ship appeared a fleet of much smaller ships, almost submarine in design, and they began to open fire on the ground below them. Explosions rocked the earth, and buildings were destroyed in the chaos. One of the smaller ships landed in the street in front of my house. At first, nothing happened. However, the other smaller ships continued to fly overhead, but stopped targeting my neighborhood for destruction. Making no sound, a hatch opened on the front of the ship, and a bright light escaped. Out of the light was revealed a short, dark gray creature with muscular body and a round head. Upon their skin was seemingly some type of pattern tattoo, perhaps tribal in nature. The creature made a primal yell, and approximately a dozen others exited the ship in 2 rows, almost militaristic in nature. Each creature was armed with a weapon of some type. One of my neighbors approached the creature as if it were to serve as the first ambassador of Earth, but only to be vaporized by an alien weapon. Needless to say, I ran into my house, locked the door, and ran upstairs to my bedroom. Once in my room, I closed and locked my door and barricaded it with any furniture that I could lift. Within 30 seconds, I could hear the front door and windows being bashed in on the first floor by a group of individuals who were soon stomping up my stairs in rhythm. The next thing that I heard was all of the other doors in the second floor being opened, and when they attempted to open my door, they found resistance. As they barricaded my bedroom door with their bodies, I could not imagine the horrors that awaited me once they entered the room. With my back against a pile of furniture in front of my door to hold it shut, they continued to push and scratch at it. Every dig into the wood was one less millimeter of door between me and certain death. It was not long until my legs began to weaken. I could not hold them back anymore. In the next few moments, I felt that my legs would buckle and that I would be killed. As the inevitable trended closer, I tried to fathom what must have occurred in the regions of space that we never knew existed that led me here. Our planet was simply in the wrong point in its orbit around the sun at the wrong time. Suddenly, my legs had buckled, and the force of my door and the furniture in front of it pushed me against the opposite wall. From that point on, time slowed down. As the alien bodies fell on top of each other, clamoring to get their piece of me, I closed my eyes and waited for death. I had never died before, so wasn't quite sure what had happened. I opened my eyes to find something unexpected. The creatures had stopped in their tracks and tilted their heads upwards as if they were listening to something on a frequency that I could not hear. Suddenly, the sounds outside of the house had stopped and the power went out. It was quiet. For the exception of a jet plane engine powering down in the distance, nothing. Out of the window, I saw a triangular flying ship exit the clouds and begin firing at these submarine-like ships. The creatures at my doorway noticed the scene outside and quickly exited the house. Unsure what to do, I followed the creatures downstairs to lock up, but they had utterly destroyed the front of the house. I watched as the 13 creatures entered their ship, closed the hatch, and took off only to be destroyed not more than 100 feet above the ground. The only evidence of this existence was a pile of ash falling to the earth. Taking no chance by sticking around and finding out what was happening, I ventured outside to get into my car. Along the way, the outside was littered with alien bodies. The sounds of battle were deafening. Then all of a sudden, it became eerily quiet again. There were no birds chirping, no screaming, and no sirens. I could not explain why to myself. Such a complete 180-degree change in the situation that not 5 minutes ago was loud and violent. It did not make sense. I checked to make sure that I could still hear, and after clapping my hands, confirming that I had not gotten deaf, yes, I could hear. I looked into the sky, and only a few triangular ships still floated overhead. Suddenly, another very large ship parted the clouds and headed towards those of us at ground level. It stopped maybe 2,500 feet in the air. Suddenly, an image of a gray creature with a large round head appeared. It seemed to be broadcasting a holographic image. The creature began to speak in gibberish, but then an obviously computer-generated voice spoke in English over its proclamation. I was not sure if what I was hearing was English or was something just beamed in my head. Essentially, the creature said that scientists on another planet had accidentally created a Techno-Organic virus that was carried in the air. It had turned everyone into the creatures that attacked the Earth. Those creatures had been traveling planet to planet to find a cure in others' beings' DNA. The problem was that it was slowly causing their brains to turn to mush, and their intelligence was leaving them with more primal instincts. However, the creature in the hologram was of the same race, untainted by the virus, and they had discovered a cure. However, they were too late in preventing the attack on our planet. The broadcast ended, and the small triangular ships began boarding the larger ship as it entered into the clouds. It did not take very long for everyone to get their courage back and help those who needed it. I wondered to myself, as I'm sure everyone else did, now that they have found us, what's next? So if you like what you hear, again, it's only $1. Go check out Amazon. The Internet Politician by Anthony R. Haslage. We'll pull it up in a search. Or again, you can go to tony.haslage.net and find it on the web. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. We would also like to thank our contributors and patrons for supporting this video. If you wish to add to the discussion, post a comment below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos. Thank you for checking out our content. Before you leave, please remember to click like and then subscribe. If you want to receive notifications, do not forget to enable them by clicking on the bell. Then afterwards, check out our social media at HaslageNet and our website at haslage.net.